Hi, everybody. It's Kylie and Bianca of My Mind Coach, home of the Queen's Collective Mastermind. And today we want to talk about the fraud complex, imposter syndrome that can affect so many high-performing, successful, ambitious women.
Yeah. You know, it's interesting when I look back on the 15 years that I've been working in the health and fitness industry and recognizing that actually I was working in the area of feminine leadership, and it just happened to be a tool that I used was through the embodiment, like how well women were actually walking their talk, how comfortable they felt about saying, this is what I want and this is what I'm going to do and ensure that I continue to do in order to live my best life. And so many times these ideas of what I want can be filtered by this idea that I'm not good enough. And it's sometimes even the goal of trying to lose weight or change your body or have a certain level of success can actually even be born from that idea of lack. So I know that I know that one of the big things for me was not fitting in. Being half Samoan and half Australian, I always felt like I was that outsider. I just channeled it all into body. I didn't realize that pretty skinny blonde girls that look like Barbie also had those same feelings as well. It's not like specific, but it's such a common thing that women translate that imposter syndrome into their body. And so when I was about 24, I decided, after a very, up and down, horrible relationship with food and binging and purging and self-harm through drugs and all that kind of punishing exercise, I discovered body sculpting because body sculpting is what's going to help me overcome the fraud complex. And
of course, if you look fabulous, of course you'll be accepted.
Yes, I just need to, fat's wrong, right? So I just need to eliminate all fat from my diet and all fat from my body, and then I'll finally be happy and I'll finally belong. And, over about 3 or 4 years, I would do different shows, and I remember feeling horrible on, maybe it was my 3rd show, and I was up the back and I didn't get called out for comparisons. It's like a stage full of 30 women and that all look fantastic, and then you're crushing yourself because of that 30 you're only 15. It's such a horrible.
And I just want to when you say I did a few shows, it's not like you just showed up and did a few shows. This takes months of intense dedication and discipline to get to the show. Like, how long does it take to prepare for a show?
If you do it right, it's 16 to 20 weeks. If you're like, some people do it in 12 weeks, but that's like the amateur version. That's like the normal public version of a really difficult thing to do,
Bikini. Yeah. Bikini contest type thing.
Yeah. So look,
So you're comparing yourself to these other 30s.
Yeah. Over 18 months, I did a few shows. And then there was this one position where I was like, oh my God, here I'm up at the back. What am I doing? I'm like scum of the earth because of the top 1% of women in Australia. I'm only top 15, so I was like, right, I'm never ever going to feel this way ever again. So I dedicated myself to eating. It ended up being like 24 egg whites a day, like having 8 egg white omelets, just chicken and broccoli. And I was so strict. And sometimes when you're eating that well, you don't actually need much sleep either. So I'd wake up at 3 o'clock in the morning, be staring at the ceiling and go, well, I might as well go burn some fat. And so in the middle of winter, with all rubbed up with gloves and like neck socks, I'd go out pedaling on my bike, in the dark, like ridiculous.
Oh my God.
In this pursuit of never ever feeling like I wasn't good enough again. And, I rocked up to the day, and it was really interesting. I was in the best condition I'd ever been. I was head and shoulders in terms of quality of muscle and the package that I was presenting, that's what they talk. You know, I'm bringing a really great package, a really dark
package.
That's what you call it in body sculpting. You know, and then people talk to you about your package, you know.
How's the objectification of the body? So like not even calling it my body, it's a package. It's like, how's the objectification of women and body? Like that is a whole different conversation, a whole different rabbit hole. But yeah, the package, oh my God, that's just blowing my mind.
It's making me get the sweats just thinking about it. And so I'm backstage and we're all doing this random weird like sweat sessions with resistor bands, and we've got your primpers, like your fluffers, like, you know, everyone patting on fake tan in all your little private bits and trying to get all veiny and vascular. It's bizarre. And as I walked past these women in a package that was already elite and the best one I'd ever created, I remember walking past these women who also looked fantastic and beautiful and incredible. And I thought, that feeling of being a fraud still here. I still feel like a fraud. Now, I went on to win the show, and I'm pretty sure I made other people feel like they were frauds too, just with some of my behavior of being like, ta-da, I'm here, I'm in my element, I'm superior, I'm a superior genetic being, and I'm finally going to make all of you pay for me feeling horrible for all these months. And so then, of course, I celebrated like 3 meals at Hog's Breath and pizza and all that stuff. And then it came the decline for the next 6 months of me eating like Tim Tams for breakfast and toasted cheese sandwiches and meat pies and hot dogs and all these random bizarre foods that I had been missing out on. And that was the time that I reached out to you, Kyles. But so like, kind of the moral of the story was that no matter how much I changed the outside circumstances, I still felt like a fraud. And most people don't get to that point. They don't get to the point where they've got the rippled six-pack and then finally got the ultimate perfect body. Like I was in the newspaper for Bianca's perfect body, and I actually achieved it. I actually achieved it, and the idea still didn't go away.
Yeah. It's like the amount of dedication and discipline that you've demonstrated to get that achievement, to have those achievements, is just mind-boggling, really. But it's so interesting, like how often do women have great achievements and get great achievements and then and they're still like, they're up there on stage in success, you know, married, with the kids, with the business, with the whatever, making the money in the corner office. And they're still like, oh God, I hope they don't find me out. Yeah. I hope, you know, I hope like someday someone's going to come and find me out and they'll take it all away from me. And then so many of those women as well that don't reach those levels of success because they have such a fraud complex that they don't even try. They stop themselves before they even had a chance to go after that particular thing and have that success in the first place. So there's like, it is an endemic issue amongst women and men. Like a lot of CEOs that I coach as well have exactly the same issue. I hope that like when people are going to come and find me out, like, how did I get here? This is so weird.
Multi-million dollar deal.
This little kid inside, you know, successful people that's going, how did I get here? What's going on? And like, someone's going to come and take it all away. And it's really interesting because you know, that voice in your head is stopping you from doing what you are really called to do and really standing in your power and owning your package, owning your embodiment, owning your success and going, yeah, I did this. I worked for this. And give me a compliment. Yeah, absolutely. Thank you. I agree. And receiving that success that you have worked so hard for. So often we work and work and work to achieve the success, but then never give ourselves the opportunity to receive the success, but instead continue to move the goalposts on ourselves further and further and further out until you just burn out with exhaustion and being demoralized by the entire thing.
It's so what's happening on the inside, on the opposite end of the Facebook highlight reels. that, you know, essentially what I created was conditional self-love and, you know, orthorexia essentially. But it's interesting about how that really appeals to the shadow side of many women, is like, oh, you know, they don't actually get to that point because most people can't put their life on hold to only eat egg whites and train 3 times a day. So they never actually get to that part of recognizing it was the thought that was broken, not their circumstances that were broken. But what I also discovered is that, that rise from the ashes, that phoenix of I was fat and I hated myself, and then I was thin and I loved myself. It's like that part is what so many people focus on, but that's the payoff. That's the positive payoff of the conditional self-love and conditional approval. And I was just coaching another incredible, amazing person that's achieved so much success, and you would never pick on from the outside that she was having full-on nervous physical bodily reactions to stepping into a leadership role, something that she dreamed about. She was like finally living her dream career, and it was having this horrific behind closed doors visceral physical reaction. And part of what was creating that was that her ego or her shadow self had created this really amazing way for it to feel validated all the time, because she would always second guess herself. She would always go, I'll say that, but I won't because I might be wrong. But let's not even think about that. If I'm wrong, then it just gives me this great opportunity to go out and learn more. And when I know there's more to learn, I feel awesome and amazing. But if you make me like realize I'm stopping here, now I feel like it's going to be over. Like that was a massive thing of me realizing that I had this idea that if I won the lotto, then everything would be over. Like, oh, you know, all my challenges, all my ways of feeling good about myself would be over. Like, oh, that sucks, you know? And so it's only when you access and recognize the positive payoffs you're getting from the negative behavior and realizing how alluring that is, that you can start dismantling.
Yeah, it's a secondary gain, and you know, that's what drives self-sabotage, is because you're beating yourself up with this one thing, but you're getting this payoff on the other end. It's like my classic example is I realized it the other day as I was like zooming up the street in my crazy European style electric bike to pick up my kids. I was like, why do I always leave it to the last second to pick up my kids? I'm like, I'm gonna go. I'm like, one reason is, I really love what I do, and I'm really, you know, committed to building, you know, the empire that we're building and serving the women that we're called to serve. That's one reason. But the other reason is that in my genetic biotype, I'm driven to adrenaline. I love adrenaline. And so that sprint of me going up the hill and having only 3 minutes to get there before, you know, with the consequence of my daughter maybe being sobbing and, you know, that I haven't got there in time, it's like it drives me like crazy. And so the payoff is this huge adrenaline surge that I get to cycle up the hill. And it's, you know, maybe that's a little bit of an unusual type of payoff, but so many of us get payoffs in weird ways that we're unconscious to. Like, how many people don't say, you know, how many of us get annoyed and frustrated, you know, if you don't have a dishwasher, right? And you've got, you get annoyed and frustrated because you don't want to ask your partners to do the dishes. You want them to want to do the dishes. You want them to come up with it themselves. Like, I don't want to have to ask you to do the dishes. I want you to want to do the dishes. And like, what kind of psycho person would want to do the dishes? No one wants to do dishes. But it's like, there's so much meaning attached to that. Or people that are, you know, that you're like, I'm, you know, being sick and because I get the payoff of sympathy, or, you know, there's so many ways. So when you're feeling compromised and like you're not good enough, or feeling like you're an imposter, what's the payoff of that? What is it that's what are you getting? And maybe it's that you don't have to actually fully step into your potential. And so you don't have to really put it all on the line and see once and for all, what you're made of, and really see that success actualized and the changes that would bring in your life, or even get the feedback that, hey, maybe this isn't for you. And then you would have to face the facts that you actually need to change your life and go and do something else. And so many of us hover with this safe problem of the fraud complex, because it's the payoff of feeling safe. Even though I'm slightly uncomfortable here, I know that I'm safe. So the full embodiment of your power, it requires a level of commitment and a level of choice where you have to then go and take action with that and commit to what is truly meaningful to you.
Yeah, that's so amazing. It just reminds me of conversations that I've had with very powerful women, and there's always this misconception that I'm constantly working with, that it's like your body, what you're looking at, the external circumstances, has been put in place from your thoughts, and it's just, your body is just the projector screen from your mind. Your present is just the thoughts that you present into the moment.
Yes.
And I was having this conversation with one of our awesome peers, and she was saying, look, I need help with managing my weight. And I said, babe, I'm like, I can hear what you're saying, but do you really think you're fat? Are you really fat? Or is it that your thoughts are fat? And she goes, no, I really am just fat. And I was like, she goes, no, there's no like positive thinking around this. I am actually just fat. And I was like, she goes, and I'm probably just not willing to do the work about it either. And first and foremost, I was like, okay, you don't have to punish yourself and kill yourself on like eating egg whites and training 3 times a day in order to change your embodiment. All it has to be is changing the thoughts and believing that you are not your thoughts and you are not your body, and to be able to extract yourself out and watch and look at the choices that you're making in those moments. And, really showing people that a belief is just a thought that you kept on choosing over and over and over until you believed it was fact. And so I think now, with realizing the women that are a match to work with us in the Queen's Collective, regardless of their embodiment in the different areas, one of the key things that they need to realize or show evidence of is that they are not their thoughts, and that they are the creator of their reality. So sometimes people can be actually just like in, ankle deep water and saying, I'm drowning, rescue me. And you're like, until you decide to stand up and realize that you're the one telling the story, I can't help you. And it's actually serving us really well, helping people make that choice. And that's me letting go of being the rescuer and trying to go, I'm going to help everybody, and then we're all going to rise from the ashes. And then help them recognize that it's just their creation. So if somebody is really in that mode of not even being aware of the fraud complex and how it's affecting them, like how do you figure it out, and how do you overcome it?
How do you figure it out, and that's a long discussion. How do you figure it out, and how do you discover it?
And you've got 1 minute to answer it.
I've got 1 minute to answer it. The first, give me some adrenaline. Okay, right. Well, let me tell you. The first thing you need to do is go to our page. We actually have a diagnostic to help people uncover this, see those areas of their life that they're not looking at, because often the fraud complex hides. It's sneaky, right? No one wants to admit even that they have that fraud complex. Some people, if you're pretty conscious, you might know that it's there, but a lot of times it hides in areas of your life that you might not be aware of. And so this diagnostic tool that we've put together really tests your beliefs and your thinking around 3 key areas of embodiment where the problems can really show up. So in your body, in your embodiment, in your wealth and your career, how you get to make money and receive money, and how much freedom you have to use that and live your life. and your relationships, how you relate to other beings, other people, and yourself. And so that's the first place that you could go to start to uncover it. And the other thing, so the next step from there is like once you realize that, hey, there's this area where I'm feeling compromised, or the results that I've got on the outside don't match up to how I'm feeling on the outside. Hey, I am a super successful bodybuilder, or I am a super successful CEO or executive or business owner, but I actually inside feel like a little girl sometimes. I sometimes feel like people are going to laugh at me and nobody's going to come to my party. And so then, really being with that little part of yourself, because it's not all of yourself. It's like there's a little part of your consciousness that's like split off and is stuck feeling like that little girl. And so then the rest of you, your higher self, can come and nurture that part of you and go, hey, it's okay. I get that you're feeling like, no one's going to come to your party, or that you're not good enough, or that you're a little girl that doesn't fit in with her group, or doesn't look like the other girls. I get that. Let's come with me and let's heal this together. And realizing that little part within you has a higher truth and has a positive intention for you, that often that part of you is trying to keep you safe, or trying to, assist you in some way. So it's not something that you need to get rid of. A lot of people think, I need to get rid of this fraud complex, like they need to cut off their arm or something. It's not something that you need to get rid of. You need to integrate the shadow aspect that is driving that. And when you integrate it, it allows you to unlock your power. It allows you to unlock all of that hidden power that has been caught up in that contraction. And when you do that, then life gets better, and you get better results, and your relationships improve, and your body improves, and your bank balance improves. And it's not an effort, because it is a function of the released power rather than extra effort. It's a function of the released embodied power rather than extra effort. So the first step is to do our diagnostic, and the second step is to be nice to yourself, and the third step is to talk to us. Come join our tribe.
You are such a legend. You did that so well.
Bam.
That's so cool. Because sometimes when Kylie and when I throw her a question, it's like we go into the universe and the infinite, and then the galaxies and parallel dimensions. And then I'm like, oh, babe, I just wanted to know like 1, 2, 3. So I love it. I love it.
Give me a time frame. Tell me the Cheerios version.
So good. And just when you were talking there, it made me realize that when you integrate it, you realize that was just a maladaptive way of trying to keep you safe. And there's nothing wrong with trying to keep you safe. Fear is important for your survival. It's believing that it's real, which is the part that holds you back from your greatness. And one of the real, when I think about all the incredible women that we have coached and helped them, transcend their own fraud complexes, and you just see the amazing, incredible realignment in their life. It's like, it's really subtle on the inside, and then it manifests these incredible futures and incredible life circumstances on the outside. And the key thing that has made it possible for each one of them is that they were brave enough to look into those deep recesses of their mind, to not just whitewash it all, and to like light wash it all, as Michaela says.
Yes. Yes.
And to realize, there's some times where I'm like queen of the world, and then there's other times where I feel this small, or I'm devastated, or I wake up at 3 o'clock in the morning and I feel like it's all going to shit. And the people that are honest with themselves and are brave enough to be vulnerable, they are the ones that ultimately step up and live in their potential and step into their highest version, highest expression of themselves. People that get limited results and keep on going around and round in a swirling mess of their shadow thoughts, they are the people who are too afraid to really front up and be honest. And
to look at it.
I love me a bit of honesty and transparency, and a bit of rawness and realness. So if you want to get raw, if you want to get raw and real, check out the power diagnostic at www.mymindcoach.com.au/potential. So if you want to be if you want to be that high overachieving woman who actually creates peace and balance and lasting results without it coming at the consequence of other areas of their life, you want to find out where you're leaking your power and how you can integrate it. So check it out.
Yeah, the ultimate leverage.
The ultimate.
Do it.
Awesome.